I predicted the future. In my GoFest prediction video, I predicted the release of Shadow Shiny Mewtwo. And today I'm excited to announce it's officially coming to Pokemon Go. Yes, the leaks were correct and the most insane update to ever be released is actually here, Shadow Raids. Will they cost extra money? Are they in person only? Which Shadow Pokemon will even be in raids? I'll be answering those questions and more in today's video. And I'll be honest with you, the more I learned about this update and read about it, the less excited I got. So, well, now before we talk about the event itself, which, yes, does include the world's first Shadow Shiny Legendary Pokemon, we have to go over what the heck a Shadow Raid even is, how it works, and how to use all of the brand new items coming to Pokemon Go, because there are a couple. Starting on May 22nd, Team Rocket is taking over during the Rising Shadows event. And with them comes a brand new feature, Shadow Raids. That, as the name implies, allows you and other friends to go out, battle Shadow Pokemon in raids, and then catch them. But they'll work a lot differently than normal raids. Like how Team Rocket can take over a Pokestop, Team Rocket can now take over gyms. When Team Go Rocket takes over a gym, I'm assuming it'll work exactly like a normal raid. The Shadow Raid will be there for like an hour, then once time runs out, the raid will turn back into a regular gym. It's also important to note in the example screenshot given by Pokemon Go, Giovanni can be seen standing next to the Shadow Mewtwo raid, which makes me curious. Will we be able to purchase Super Rocket radars? Will there be a special research that gives us all a radar? Will we all only get one shot at a Shadow Shiny Mewtwo? Or will these raids take regular passes? I'm not quite sure, but I do know one thing that honestly kind of ruined this entire update a bit for me. You will not be able to use remote raids on Shadow Raids. Yes, the pain from Niantic continues against remote raids and the global Pokemon Go community. Now, if these raids require rocket radars or super rocket radars in order to battle, I guess this kind of makes sense. But if not, why prevent remote raids from being used? If the argument is, well, you go out and explore to find Team Go Rocket, then what about the rocket balloon that you get every 6 hours in any location you are? And if the remote raids are going to receive such an astronomically large nerf, why also exclude them from one of the coolest features ever released? I will be in Alaska when this update comes out, and as much as I would like to catch a Shadow Shiny Mewtwo, I will most definitely not be able to take it out with just me and my brother. And I doubt I'll even find many gyms or any gyms that have a Shadow Mewtwo raid. But I do have 400 people on my friends list who would be a huge asset in helping me catch this Pokemon. But nope, no remote raids allowed. There's also a new feature and item coming to Pokemon Go alongside this update. Now, the TLDR is that shadow bosses will act differently than normal raid bosses. And before we talk about how, I do want to make an announcement. If you're heading to New York this summer in August, get ready because I am hosting my own in-person live event. I hosted the Shiny Luck Tour event in Las Vegas and it went fantastic. Everybody had a wonderful time, we opened up some cool cards, and the group was able to participate in an amazing Pokemon Go challenge that ended in a 1v1, which was awesome. We're gonna have a very similar experience in New York City this summer, August 17th. So if you're in the area and wanna join in, the link to buy tickets, they're now live, are down in the description below. And we're gonna end the night with a DJ set from Trainer Tips. It is gonna be awesome, fun. The whole community is gonna be there. Link in the description to grab your tickets. Okay, so how will Shadow Raid bosses differ from normal raid bosses? As you battle them, they will apparently grow enraged, which boosts their attack and defense. But you have the ability to subdue them using a brand new item called Purified Gems, which can be assembled from another new item, Shadow Shards. Okay, this is gonna get a little bit confusing and kind of silly, but stay with me. You can get Shadow Shards by defeating Team Go Rocket. If you collect enough Shadow Shards, you can use another new item, the Shard Refiner, to combine them into a Purified Gem. Sort of same system as collecting mysterious components from Team Go Rocket Grunts in order to combine into Rocket Radars to be able to attack and battle leaders. And what exactly do you do with these Purified Gems once you have them? During a Shadow Raid, you could use the Purified Gems against the raid boss as it becomes enraged, which will lower the raid boss's attack and defense, making it easier to defeat. Also, you and the people that you're raiding with can use more than one Purified Gem at a time, and when multiple are used at the same time, their effects will stack. So theoretically, if you have a lobby of, let's say, 10 people who all have like 1 or 2 or 3 Purified Gems, and everybody uses them at the same time, you could bring the stats of whatever raid boss it is way down and defeat it super duper easily. Like world record fastest 5-star raid status, which could be a really fun video, honestly. But again, be in Alaska. Okay, listen, I like the mysterious component Team Rocket, Team Go Rocket leader situation and system. I think it makes sense, it's not overly complicated, it helps free-to-play players, but this system just feels why? Seems like an extra layer of grind that's just kind of being added onto the game. Extra complexity for no reason. I understand wanting to make shadow raids difficult and unique in a way, but like, I don't know, this feature just doesn't seem that necessary. Now, the one huge positive benefit that I can see from this is this. Since these raids can't be done using remote raids, it's gonna be super hard for most people to take down a tier 5 shadow raid boss. But if they grind some Team Go Rocket, get a bunch of shadow shards and combine them into a bunch of purified gems, they will hopefully be able to take these raids down a lot easier with their friends or maybe even by themselves. Like, imagine having enough purified gems to where you can solo a shadow Mewtwo raid. I'll most likely end up testing this out, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel here to see if this will work. Oh, and yeah, remember what I said before, Shadow Mewtwo is coming to raids. Now that we all know how shadow raids work in Pokemon Go, let's go over the brand new update that they'll all be featured in. From Monday, May 22nd at 10 o'clock a.m. local time until Sunday, May 28th at 8 o'clock p.m. local time, we'll have the Rising Shadows event going down. And from May 22nd to May 28th, most gyms will be hosting shadow raids. But it's important to know that normal raids will be happening as well at the same time. So if you want to use an overpriced remote raid pass on a completely irrelevant and uninteresting Pokemon, you could still do that. Then on Saturday, May 27th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. local time, Team Go Rocket will take over all gyms, meaning shadow raids will be everywhere. Now, what Pokemon will be in these shadow raids? In the tier 1, we have Shadow Poliwag, Shadow Machop, Shadow Bellsprout, and Shadow Beldum. In the tier 3, we have Shadow Bayleaf, Shadow Quilava, Shadow Croconaw, and Shadow Sneasel. Remember that shadow Pokemon are some of the best and most meta-relevant in Pokemon Go. So, some of these raid bosses are probably worth raiding. The most meta-relevant options are Shadow Machop. Shadow Machamp is one of the best fighting types in the entire game, and it's great in all 3 leagues in the Go Battle League. Plus, it can be Shadow Shiny. Speaking of, Shadow Beldum, the next one to look for. This is one of the most meta-relevant Pokemon in the entire game. Shadow Metagross is the #1 steel type overall, including Megas, and it's also useful in Master League PvP. Shadow Quilava is decent due to Shadow Typhlosion's usage as a fire type. Shadow Croconaw is an amazing option if you PvP because its evolution. Shadow Feraligatr is great in all 3 leagues. And these aren't the only shadow raid bosses. In tier 5 raids, we'll have the literal best Pokemon actually in the entire game. Shadow Mewtwo. And I'm in Alaska on a cruise with no internet the entire time this is in the raids. Why me? And for the first time ever in Pokemon Go history, Shadow Mewtwo can be shiny. Yes, this will be the release of the world's first Shadow Shiny legendary Pokemon. Always knew it would be Mewtwo. But Shadow Mewtwo will apparently only be appearing in Shadow Raids Saturday, May 27th at 10 a.m. until Sunday, May 28th at 8 p.m. local time. So make sure you're not in Alaska and have internet during these times and dates. There will also be normal raids happening during this event, and they include, in the 1-star raids, Clefairy, Tentacle, Marill, Skrelp, and Popplio, 3-star raids with Magneton, Lapras, Mawile, and Empoleon, 5-star raids with Regigigas, who is coming back and can be shiny, and Tapu Fini. Still don't have the shiny for that because I just don't raid anymore. And then the Mega Raids with Mega Pinsir and Mega Altaria. Definitely some decent options that you can use your remote raid pass on if you want to, which is nice, but nothing here is really super meta relevant except for the Mega Pokemon. Oh, and also Pokemon in the wild will include Ekans, Golbat, Coughing, Houndour, Poochyena, Stunky, Scorpy, and if you're lucky, Hisuian, Quillfish, and Scraggy, neither of which can be shiny, so it is what it is. And then like with the raids, nothing super meta relevant in the wild, so not much to worry about there. There's one bonus for this event, and it is obviously that Team Go Rocket is appearing more often, and there will be field research that will give mysterious components and Stardust. Plus, to add to the excitement, the first ever Master Ball is being released in Pokemon Go in the special research. So make sure you log in and claim that special research by June 1st at 10 o'clock a.m. And there's a new avatar pose. Okay, there's a couple things about this update that are still really unclear and honestly super important. The main one being IVs from Shadow Pokemon raids. When catching Shadow Pokemon from Team Go Rocket in the wild, there is no IV floor, meaning you can get anywhere from a 0% IV Shadow Pokemon all the way up to a 100% IV Pokemon. But in raids, there's an IV floor of 10, 10, 10, making it infinitely easier to get a 100% IV or high IV Pokemon out of raids. So will Shadow Raids have the same IVs as Team Go Rocket in the wild, or raids? If raids, then I definitely recommend doing as many Shadow Mewtwo as possible because the likelihood of getting a Shadow Hundo will be higher than ever. And if you get a Shadow Shundo, you're a god. I'll honestly do that regardless, just because this is, I don't know when this is gonna ever happen again. This is insane that Shadow Mewtwo's in raids, and that I'm like out of the world for this. But that is the brand new Shadow Raid update in Pokemon Go. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I hope you all are excited for this, and I hope none of you will be in Alaska for it. Thank you for watching, see you in the next one, take care.